My kiss grants you immortality or death.
Alice is Brun's youngest daughter, but compared with her two distinguished elder brothers, little Alice appears insignificant. Her identity as an illegitimate daughter blindfolded her, and she was never valued by the family. Alice gradually grew up in this malicious environment. She hated everyone around her, hated this unfair destiny, hated the hypocritical gods the family believed in, and the darkness continued to spread in her heart. One day, soldiers returning from the battlefield vied for spoils and divided them as usual. Alice stood in a corner not far away, staring at them coldly. "Why do you bring back junk like this? It really gets in the way," someone said as they threw a bead to the ground. Alice looked toward the bead, but unexpectedly, this bead, which seemed to be dim and dull to the others, burst into a breathtaking rose-colored light in Alice's eyes. It rolled slowly to Alice's feet, and the moment she touched it with her hand, a demon's voice flooded her mind. "Offer your soul, my dear Alice. Accept our power and you will get everything you want." "If I get what I want, what do you want from me?" "It's very simple. All I need is the faith of your family. Abandon the King of Light and plunge into the embrace of the abyss." Faith was not a big issue for Alice, but she remembered the vow that she would utter every time she offered a sacrifice: "The never-extinguishing holy light will punish all betrayers." No one knew what the punishment was. Just as Alice was hesitating, Alice's brother Simon found her in the corner. He came to Alice and pushed her down fiercely, saying, "It's you, you superfluous person, what are you doing here?" Seeing that Alice was not going to answer, he snatched the bead she was holding tightly in her hand. Alice tried to snatch it back, but he kicked her into the air. A bastard is just a bastard, but a broken bead can be regarded as a treasure. He glanced back at Alice, who had fallen to the ground and was not getting up. He snorted coldly, and continued, "You're just like this bead, superfluous junk." He flung the bead forcefully at Alice's lower abdomen. The pain caused Alice to let out a blood-curdling scream. The disturbance from the corner attracted the attention of others around. Laughter filled the room for a while, and Alice felt out of breath. When the crowd dispersed, all the built-up humiliation and frustration broke out at this moment. Alice clutched her stomach and stood up with difficulty. She said to the demon, "If I succeed, will you give me enough power to take all lives?" "Of course, my dear Alice." "Okay, then I promise you." "That's more like it, hey hiya." A scorching energy burned a black mark on the back of Alice's hand, and then disappeared. She put away the bead and left quietly. Brun was old, but the heir of the Antilles family was not yet elected. Of his two sons, the younger Simon was the one he favored, much to the chagrin of his eldest son Colin. Alice knew that this was her best way in. Alice secretly provoked animosity between the two brothers, and used this to divide all the tribesmen into two parties who kept fighting. During this time, Alice always stayed by Brun's side, playing the role of a good daughter while at the same time hinting to Brun in a roundabout way that his two sons wanted to kill him and take his place as tribal patriarch. Without too much effort from Alice, the ridiculous family bond between the father and his two sons was torn to pieces in a power struggle. As the gap between them deepened, a tragedy finally befell them. Colin hatched a plot that killed Simon, and Brun executed Colin under the bewitching influence of Alice.
Darkness is closing in on the Empire.
After Colin's death, Brun fell ill, and Alice assumed the responsibility of the patriarch. At this time, the family was ruined, and all the allies who had been following them betrayed them one by one.
Only a dead body does not betray.
On the one hand, Alice took care of Brun, and on the other hand, she used a strong hand to cheer up the family and gain the support and trust of the tribe. Seeing the time was right, she quietly killed Brun by poisoning him. At the funeral, those of the Antilles family realized that the family had fought for the light for generations, but the light had never blessed them. Nowadays, allies left one after the other, not caring one bit for the friendships of the past. They felt angry but helpless about this. Incited by Alice, the tribesmen came to the altar, threw the holy objects to the ground in a rage, and gave feedback to the King of Light using their own actions.
Enjoy your last moments. Your end nears.
At the moment when the sacred object was destroyed, a dazzling light fell from the sky above the altar, piercing into the bodies of all the tribespeople including Alice. As they wailed, pitch-black wings mixed with blood broke out of their bodies, and sharp fangs grew out of their mouths. This was the punishment mentioned in the oath, the curse that will never be eliminated. From then on, they became monsters who would never see the sun again. They could only survive relying on the blood of other races. After the light faded, countless blood-stained demonic hands stretched out from the ground. By touching them, the Antaeus family members were given the reward called eternal life by the abyss. Alice also received the demon's reward at this time, gaining enough power to take away all lives. When everything faded, they realized they had fallen into the gap between light and darkness and would no longer be accepted by the world. Under the guidance of the demon, Alice led her tribe to profess their faith in the Lord of the Abyss. After that, the Antaeus family disappeared from the world forever. In the faction of the demons, there was an additional race called the Blood Demons. Under the leadership of Queen Alice, they wandered in the darkness and became the most loyal servants of the Abyss.
You should return my favor with blood.